Hello and welcome back to McClaren Performance. I went to the Man United game against Newcastle. There's a lot of bad decisions from the referee. There's a lot of chances not taken. I want to talk about all of that. To be fair, for one, I think bad decisions is a bit harsh. I don't understand what is and isn't a penalty. I don't understand what is and isn't a foul. It seems to be really inconsistent all the time. It seems to be that when you look at referees talking on Sky Sports, they don't really seem to know what it is either. It's a lot of individual interpretation from the referees, from the people that are looking with regards to VAR, and because of that it seems to be so different. I think if you look at it from a kind of unbiased way, if I'm not looking at it from a Man United point of view, there's two penalties at either end that look like a penalty to me, really, and I think in other games possibly would be under different referees, maybe they would be as well, but in this case they obviously weren't. Anyway, watch the game. Thought it was okay. It wasn't a great game to watch, really. I wasn't in the best of places. I was more kind of eye level with the players. Basically, in the second half, every time Sancho went down the wing, I was there to see him, really, waving him along. And in the warm-up, I could get a good close look at Newcastle's players while they were warming up as well. It was quite a good seat, but you can't see what's going on. It's really hard to judge what's happening when you're just at eye level with everything. But anyway, on to the game itself. It's clear that Newcastle came with a pretty solid plan, really. They made sure they broke down the play as much as possible, got a referee decision quite a lot, went down for a lot of challenges, and just slowed down the game in a lot of different ways. If you look at the statistics, I don't know if they had a single shot on target. There's a point, I think it's Joe Linton, I can't quite remember who it was, who hit the crossbar, hit the post. Their only threat, I think, really was their set plays, and that really helped them when they had fouls outside the box. Trippier and players like that could put balls in, and you had players like Dan Burn, Joe Linton, massive players who could put their head on the end of it, and that's really their main threat, and that's what they tried to do. We, on the other hand, we tried to play our game. Ten Hag, again, trying to implement the way that he wants to play. There are more and more glimpses of that way of playing, keeping the ball more in their half, playing around the back, trying to find gaps, and less about, the counter-attacking way of playing, which is the way that Man United have been playing and doing well doing that, but they need to adapt to Ten Hag and what he wants to do, and you can see more and more they're in that transition period between the two. It's a bit of a boring game to talk about because I don't think Man United did really well. I don't think they did really bad either. If Rashford or say anyone else had taken those chances towards the end of the game and you say we won the game 1-0, 2-0, then maybe we're sitting here saying played really well, got the result that we deserved. But really no goals came out of it, and the main weakness of the team, aside from other little things really, is the ability to finish chances. Usually in the last few minutes of a game, the last, say, 5 minutes of added time, you think it's going to be end-to-end. The reality of it was that Newcastle weren't really in it to win it. They weren't trying to get that goal. They were trying to keep a clean sheet. And you could see us attacking all the time. And that's a good sign. But we just had to finish those chances at the end of the day. Newcastle played well to break us down and break down our way of playing and stop us from playing as much as possible. Stop us from playing the way we wanted to play. But ultimately, we should have won that game with the chances that we had, especially towards the end. Ronaldo looked okay up front. Really his biggest chance, if I can remember right, was when he was offside. Maybe there was one or two, I can't quite remember. But I do remember when Rashford came on that he did look more dynamic, he did look more threatening. And obviously he had those one or two chances towards the end as well. I think a lot of people would say, if you kept Ronaldo on, he would have finished those chances that we got at the end. I don't think it's as simple as that. It didn't like he was finishing chances before that. And you have to argue that Rashford, in a lot of ways, made those chances happen. And this is something I've said before. I don't think it's that insightful. It's not a look behind the scenes, right? Erik Ten Hag wants his players to move off the ball and press off the ball and do all those things. Evident in what he's done before. It's evident in what he's talking about his press conferences now. And you look at Ronaldo when he's starting, he's not pressing and moving, not in the same way that Rashford does. And I'm telling you, he wants players that are going to do it one end and also do it the other as well. Do the things on the ball and do it off it as well. And he'll look for both equally. Whereas you and I and a lot of people would go, yeah, that player's going to score goals. We'll put him on. Let's do that. It's the Dutch way. It's total football. every player on the pitch does every job that they can possibly do. I think we're getting to that period now with Erik ten Hag where a lot of fans aren't so much excited by there being a new manager and are more so really now looking for big improvements within the team. And so that's where the pressure starts to creep in towards the manager and question marks start coming up. I think he's done quite well. I think he's done okay. He's developing his ideas. But you can see results like this. You need those 3 points. We've talked about it before. You need those 3 points because it enforces the messages of the manager and it gives the players belief in what they're talking about. It gives fans belief in what they're doing as well. It's that feedback loop of what I always talk about, that mind, action, result. And sometimes the external result kind of helps people in mind to be okay, relaxed, calm, to then perform and act consistently. It's little doubts that start to creep in with a 0-0 against Newcastle and things like that. 1-0 against, Europa League team, managed to get a last minute goal. It's just little creeping niggles like that with time the team will overcome. But will the team overcome it in time and quickly enough before fans, pundits, everybody else starts turning on the manager and his ideas and the things that he's trying to implement? Yeah, and that's kind of really my whole analysis on the game itself. It's progress still, as always. Sometimes it's kind of just as boring as that. It's as boring as a 0-0, really. The most exciting thing really about the game was that afterwards I was able to go to the director's box, which was kind of cool and fancy and posh, and that was really interesting. Met Dan Ashworth, which was really interesting. Met Sir Alex, which was weird. Yeah, it was weird. And yeah, and then I got a picture, was able to go down to the pitch as well, see the dugout and things like that, which it was really cool. That was probably the best part of it. The actual game and the result were pretty boring, really. I'd love to do an episode on referees, though, and what referees are like in the Premier League at the moment. Really take a research look at, are they really doing a bad job? Kind of looks like they are. Are they using VAR correctly and things like that? There's got to be something more there to what is going on, because it's just seems so bad at the moment. I saw that the referee association, or whoever they are, filed a complaint, having to go at managers and coaches and them getting in the faces during the game, and what example it sets really for people and kids watching at home. And I understand that. I understand the abuse that they get, and that's not right. But they also have to take a look at themselves and say, are we doing good work here? Are we making the right decisions? It's an interesting conversation, so I don't think there's a right or wrong side to it. Anyway, yeah, they're my thoughts on the game. It's a shame we couldn't get the 3 points out of it, but within it, I think you can really see the development of this team. It's a matter of patience still, which I know process and words like that everyone hates, but it's kind of the reality of football as well. Let me know what you think about my thoughts on the game, about the game itself, everything like that. Leave a comment, leave a like, leave a review on the podcast as well if you could, and I will see you again maybe after the next game we do. Games are coming so quickly at the moment, so maybe there's a lot to talk about. So maybe this week, maybe next week. I'll see you then.